Quick experiment before we start. I want you to think of something you've been keeping your options open about. Maybe it's a career move you haven't committed to, but haven't ruled out either. Maybe it's a city you might move to someday, possibly. Maybe it's a relationship you're half in. Maybe it's the gym membership you keep just in case you get back into it. Maybe it's the side business idea you've neither started nor killed. It just sits there, in a folder, alive but not living. Got one? Good. Hold it. Now here's the uncomfortable thing I'm going to prove to you over the next 16 minutes. That open option, the one you're keeping open because keeping it open feels free, feels smart, feels like you're holding onto possibility, that option is not free. You are paying rent on it. Right now. Every day. You have been for as long as you've kept it open. And the rent doesn't come out of your bank account, which is exactly why you've never noticed you're paying it. There's no character in tonight's video. No Robert, no Dave, no Tom. Because tonight's invisible bill isn't somebody else's story. It's the door you, specifically, are standing in front of right now, refusing to either walk through or close, and quietly paying for the privilege of leaving it open. I'm Benjamin Hayes. This is Money with Benjamin. And tonight we're talking about the strangest bill in the whole series, the one you pay for things you never actually buy. The hallway, why open doors feel free and aren't. Picture a hallway, long one, and all down both sides, doors. Each door is a possibility you've kept open, the job you might go back to, the ex you haven't fully let go of, the hobby you might pick up again, the plan B, the plan C, the we'll see. Now, standing in that hallway with all those doors open feels powerful. It feels like freedom. Look at all my options. Look how much is still possible. I haven't closed anything off. I can still become anything, go anywhere, choose any of these. Here's what nobody tells you about that hallway. Every open door is connected to you by a thin thread, and each thread pulls, just slightly, all the time. A little bit of your attention, a little bit of your energy, a small, recurring tax on your mental bandwidth, charged for the simple service of keeping that door available. You don't feel any single thread. That's the trick. One open door costs almost nothing, a faint tug you'd never notice. But you're not standing in front of one door. You're standing in a hallway of them. 20 open doors, each pulling a single thread, and suddenly you're standing in the middle of a web, held in place, unable to move forward toward any one thing because you're tethered lightly to everything. That's the first phase of this bill. Optionality feels like wealth, but past a certain point it's a tax, because the cost of keeping an option open is paid continuously, in the one currency you can't refill, your finite attention. And here's the financial version, since this is, technically, a money channel. The keep your options open instinct is why people don't invest. They want their cash liquid, available, ready for anything. So it sits there doing nothing. And doing nothing, we already know, is the most expensive thing money can do. It's why people don't commit to a career and go deep enough to get truly valuable at one thing. It's why the side business stays in a folder. Open doors don't just cost attention. They cost the compounding you'd have gotten from walking through one and going deep. The math of not choosing what a closed door actually gives you. Let's talk about what happens the moment you actually close one of those doors. Because this is the part that feels like loss and is actually the opposite. Say you've got that side business idea sitting in a folder, not started, not killed, 9 times a day. Every time you feel a little guilty about it, that's a payment. Every time it makes you hesitate to commit to something else because, well, maybe I'll do the business instead, that's the big payment. The open door isn't just costing you the business. It's blocking the doorway to whatever you'd commit to if it weren't hanging there, open, unresolved. Now watch what closing it does. You close that door, you either start the thing or you formally kill it. Let's say you kill it. You decide, on purpose, I'm not doing this. Feels like a loss, right? You just gave up a possibility. But look at what you got back. The thread is cut. The tug is gone. The attention that door was quietly draining for years, it just got refunded to you, in full, all at once. The guilt, gone. The hesitation it was causing in other decisions, gone. You didn't lose a possibility. You bought back a piece of yourself that the possibility had been renting this whole time. This is the thing almost nobody understands about decisions. We treat deciding as the thing that costs us, because deciding means giving up the roads not taken, and that feels like loss. But not deciding costs more. Not deciding means paying rent on every road simultaneously, forever, while traveling down none of them. The person with 5 open options, and the person who closed 4 and committed to 1. The second person isn't more limited. They're the only one who's actually moving. A closed door isn't a loss, it's a refund. I'll give you mine. For about 3 years I kept, maybe I'll go back to a normal corporate job as an open door, while doing something completely different. I never used that door. Not once. But I kept it open, and the whole time it was open, it made me hedge. It made me not fully commit to the thing I was actually doing, because some part of me was holding the exit. The day I finally closed it, just decided, no, that's over, I'm not going back. My actual work got better within a month. Not because anything changed except that I'd stopped paying rent on an escape route I was never going to use. The door's worth keeping, because this isn't close everything. Now, before this turns into close every door, commit to everything, optionality is evil. No. That's the dumb version of this idea, and the dumb version is dangerous. Some doors are worth every cent of rent they charge. The whole point of an emergency fund is optionality. It's a door marked in case life breaks, and you pay rent on it gladly because the thing behind it is catastrophe protection. Insurance is rent on a door you hope never to open, keeping a genuinely good opportunity open while you think it through carefully. That's not paralysis, that's prudence. Optionality isn't the enemy. Unexamined optionality is. So the skill, and it is a skill, isn't closing doors. It's auditing them. Walking down your hallway, and for each open door, asking a question almost nobody asks. What is this specific open door actually costing me, and am I getting my money's worth? Some doors you'll look at and go, yes, absolutely, this is worth the rent, the emergency fund, the relationship I'm genuinely building toward, the skill I'm actively developing. Keep those open. Pay that rent proudly. But others, the side business in the folder you'll never start, the career exit you'll never take, the maybe someday that's been someday for 9 years, the gym membership funding a fantasy version of you that isn't coming, those doors aren't holding possibility. They're holding guilt. And you're paying premium rent on a room full of guilt every single day for the privilege of not having to admit you're never walking through. The difference between a door worth keeping and a door bleeding you dry is just whether you'd consciously choose to pay its rent if someone showed you the bill. Same test as the coffee, last episode. Same test as all of these actually. Would you choose it, knowing the real price? The one door. So here's where this lands. Go back to the thing I asked you to hold at the very beginning. The option you've been keeping open. You've been holding it this whole video. By now, you probably already know which category it's in. You felt it somewhere around minute 4. If it's a door worth the rent, good. Keep it open on purpose, knowing what it costs, glad to pay. That's not paralysis. That's a decision, and a decision is the opposite of the trap. But if it's one of the other ones, the folder, the exit, the someday that's never coming, then I want to tell you something that took me far too long to learn. You are allowed to close it. You're allowed to walk up to that door, the one you've left open for years out of a vague sense that closing it means giving up, and you're allowed to shut it gently, on purpose, and feel the thread go slack. And the relief you'll feel, that sudden return of energy you didn't know was being drained, that is the measure of how much rent you'd been paying all along, silently, for a room you were never going to live in. Optionality is not freedom. The ability to choose anything is worthless until you actually choose something. Freedom isn't the open door. Freedom is being light enough to walk through one, and you get light by closing the ones you're never going to use. The most expensive doors in your life are the ones you never walk through and never close. They just stand there, open, charging you rent on a future you're not actually going to have. Go close one. You'll feel the refund immediately. I'm Benjamin Hayes. This was Money with Benjamin. Next time, we're looking at an invisible bill that hides inside the thing everyone tells you is responsible, careful, the smart, safe move, and why the most cautious people sometimes pay the highest price of all. I'll see you there.